Welcome to this video on how to make glass knob inserts. To make the inserts, you will need 20 gauge stainless steel wire. If you do not have stainless steel wire, copper wire will work just as well, a tool for cutting stainless steel wire. I would recommend using an old pair of cutters. Stainless steel wire is very hard and will most likely damage the cutters. A pair of pliers, 1-inch long 832 screws, a small piece of 832 threaded rod, 2 to 3 inches long is recommended, a coiling tool, and a threaded mandrel. Later in this video, there will be a demonstration on what you can do if you don't have a piece of threaded rod or a coiling tool. Here are the inserts we are going to make. Before we get started, here is a store-bought knob that came with a standard 832 bolt that will fit almost all doors and drawers. As you can see, the 832 bolt fits nicely into the handmade glass knob. The inserts we are making in this video are made to fit an 832 bolt, but you can make these inserts to fit whatever size bolt you want. To make an insert that is approximately 1/2 to 5/8 of an inch long, you will need 13 inches of wire. I personally like the shank of the knob to be a little longer, but you can make this as short or as long as you want. To get a tight coil on the insert, we will be using a coiling tool. These tools are used to coil wire to make jump rings. Here are two different coiling tools. The one on the right is the Artist Wire Professional Deluxe Coiling Gizmo, and the one on the left, the one we will be using in the demonstration, is the Peppy Tools Coil Winder for Jump Ring Maker. To start, insert the short piece of 832 threaded rod into the coiling tool. Place about 1/2 to 1 inch of the wire into the tool and slowly start to turn the handle to coil the wire. At the end of the video, I will show you what you can do if you do not have this tool. The inserts work best if the coils are tight and close together. Stainless steel is a little harder to work with, so it is important to hold it tightly. If this becomes too difficult, use a pair of pliers to grip the wire. Once you are done coiling, remove the threaded rod from the coiling tool. Now we need to clean up the ends. Remove the coiled wire from the threaded rod and cut the short end of the wire that is sticking out. Always be careful when cutting wire. It is best to hold the end that is being cut off, but if this is not possible, ensure the wire is facing down or away to prevent the cut off wire from hitting anyone or anything. Thread the coil back onto the threaded rod until there are 2 to 3 coils above the end of the rod. To prevent glass from attaching to the end of the mandrel, it is important to close up this space. This can be done by gripping the wire with the pliers and twisting the top. It is important to have a good grip on the coil with one hand and a good grip on the wire with the pliers. By twisting both hands closely together and in the opposite directions, a tighter and smaller coil is created at the top. Use the cutters to trim off the excess wire and to close up the top a little more. When you are done, remove the short piece of threaded rod and attach the insert to the threaded mandrel. Now you're ready to make your glass knob. The following is a demonstration on how to make the inserts if you don't have a coiling tool. Stainless steel wire is a little more difficult to work with. 18 gauge or 20 gauge copper wire will work, so use whatever you have on hand. For this demonstration, we are using 12 inches of 20 gauge copper wire to coil by hand around the end of the threaded mandrel. Hold about 1 inch of wire close to the mandrel with one hand and use the other hand to wrap the wire tightly and closely together. If there are any gaps between the coils, there is a risk that the glass will seep through the gaps and stick to the mandrel, which might possibly make the knob and the mandrel unusable. Once the coiling is done, thread the coil off the mandrel until there are 2 to 3 coils off the end. To prevent glass from attaching to the end of the mandrel, it's important to close up this space. This can be done by gripping the wire with the pliers and twisting the top. By twisting your hands closely together and in the opposite directions, a tighter and smaller coil is created at the top. Use the cutters to trim off the excess wire and use the pliers to close up the top a little. Remove the coil from the mandrel and trim the excess wire. Now your insert is ready to be used. Another way to create the insert is to coil the wire around an 832 screw. Though this demonstration is using a 1-inch screw, I would recommend a 2 to 3 inch screw if you are going to use this technique to create the insert. So there you have a few different ways to make inserts for glass knobs for doors or drawers. Thank you for watching. Have fun torching!